We are joined in the studio by Maudi Lentsoane, founder and managing director of Lihumo Investments, to talk to us about this frenzy. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
With this excitement all about Bitcoin, do people know what they are doing?
Look, I don't think a lot of people understand what they're doing, or even understand, what the whole, Bitcoin story is all about. And that's the problem. And, once you have people that don't understand what is happening, or just the whole, cryptocurrency or the blockchain technology, but they are getting involved in it, that becomes a bit of a problem. And which is why, a lot of people are saying this is a bubble that is going to burst eventually, because we have people with no knowledge getting involved, and it can only, result in a disaster.
The excitement has a trend. Just not so long ago, we were talking about Triple M, and people were saying, get in, make money, and get out. Yeah. Now, people are now talking Bitcoins, and they've kept quiet about pyramid schemes.
Yeah.
So while this is happening right now, do people understand the essence of investing and which tools to use to invest, especially given the advice that they get? Because every time it's word of mouth. People just say, tell me about Bitcoin. I want to buy it. I want it now.
And that's the problem. But I think just to go back and just do a bit of a comparison, Bitcoin itself, it's not, I wouldn't really compare it with the pyramid scheme. The whole blockchain technology makes a lot of sense to me, and it's very fascinating. Is the fact that it's a new discovery, just like what we had back in the 1990s with the advent of internet, or the introduction of internet. When internet was first discovered or introduced, there was so much excitement around it, and hence the .com bubble that we had. The problem is not the technology itself, but it's the excitement around it, that it even gets to a point where it makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, you look at, for example, something that moves from 800% in 12 months. It tells you that there's certainly, it's out of touch with its intrinsic value. It's out of touch with the reality. But just the whole, blockchain technology, where suddenly because of the internet, because we are growing as a generation, and we're discovering new ways of doing things. This is just, I think, in my mind, a new way of how money is going to look like going forward.
As I've been researching this story in the build-up to what's reporting it on Air Live today, I know of certain people who have borrowed money to purchase Bitcoin. A lot of people are getting in, but is it safe to get in now? And how will we know when it's safe to get out?
Look, I think to try and derive a valuation around Bitcoin, it's impossible for anybody. At the moment, just 2 weeks ago, it was worth, 7,000. Today is worth 10,000. What has changed? The only thing that has changed is that you've had people that are probably, I would say, suffering from, they're having a FOMO moment, a fear of missing out. They're getting involved. Up to what point, we don't know. And at some point, we will know, because once, and especially now we're talking about the derivatives market coming through. Let me tell you, with the derivatives market, with the futures, you will be able to sell, to speculate on the downside, to be able to take short positions, to bet against Bitcoin falling. At the moment, what the transactions in Bitcoins, you've only been able to buy and sell. So at some point, you are going to have a situation where, the other people will be able to speculate on the downside.
The problem is, if Bitcoin has experienced problems, where will you queue to get your money back? Who are you going to speak to?
Yeah, so there are a number of exchanges. The process to get into Bitcoins, that you go and get in touch with the reputable exchanges, you open an account, and you are able to then utilize that account to pay for your transaction, your goods across the globe. I know that in Japan, it's where most of the merchants accept Bitcoin. So you can transact in
Can you get your money back?
You can go to ATMs. There's some countries where there's some Bitcoins where you can actually withdraw your Bitcoin. So it's acceptable. It's coming in and it's being introduced. It's another form of of money.
So as we conclude, the reserve banks around the world are still a little bit weary about cryptocurrencies. Given that they're not regulated, how safe is it for one to decide consciously to say that whatever type of investor you are, you're going in and it's the right thing to do?
But the whole thing is, the Bitcoins, the whole technology itself, it's centered around the fact that central banks will not like it. Remember, what Bitcoin, the whole blockchain technology is that they've removed a central bank. That's the whole selling point around Bitcoins. So no central bank is going to like it, because suddenly no central bank is going to accept the fact that they are now being rendered null and void.
Okay.
And that's the problem.
To a person watching this interview, with a yes or no, should I do Bitcoin or not?
Bitcoin, remember the whole blockchain technology is not just Bitcoin. There's Ethereum as well. So what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to put across is that it might be that Bitcoin is overvalued, but it doesn't render the whole concept of a blockchain technology null and void.
So your answer is a no?
My answer is no on the Bitcoin.
Okay.
Anything that has run 800% will worry me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. That's Managing Director of Lehumo Investments talking to us about Bitcoin and you decide.